So this video was originally going to be done in the modern format, where I have a script and there's a shitload of editing, but that was just way too ambitious for the limited amount of free time I currently have. So we're just going to talk over this. I'm going to edit in some clips so that you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. Let's just do this. So first things first, the title. This submission's title is pronounced あなたがこれを翻訳したら、あなた自身でファックしてください. And what that translates to is, if you translate this, please fuck yourself. Second thing is, for some reason, I find this title screen really hilarious. This whole, like, Super Metroid thing. I don't know, it's just so completely random and out of nowhere. It's got that effect of, like, you know when you watch a video, and it's like, there's like a build-up or whatever, it's like, oh no, he's gonna press the time bomb, and then suddenly, John Cena! Da, 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 da. It's got that kind of, like, what the fuck effect to it. Like, come on, dude. Anyway, the story of this submission is that, like, there's some evil cult trying to revive the evil entity of whatever. That's literally the name of the entity. And our heroes arrive. You got MK Girl, Bane, Jagan, and Lord. Yeah, you heard that right, Lord. I was just as surprised as you are when I found out that Lord the pop singer was taking up arms in a Ragefest submission. But you know, given that we've already had a submission where Jafar was playable, it just goes to show you that anything is possible. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a normal fucking villager named Lord. Anyway, aside from the title, there's really not much to talk about with this submission. Maruhai made this in 3 days last minute with Ragefest, and it shows. Firstly, you only have a couple units. They all have pretty generic portraits and shit. But on top of that, the level design is very rookie mistake-ish. Like, there's a lot of Fire Emblem hacks where, like, rookie level designers will just have a couple enemies charge after you and everyone else will just stand in place. That's pretty much this submission. Once the initial rush fades away, all the other enemies just kind of wait around to get killed. Like, it's just a matter of waiting out the reinforcements, finding a good spot to camp, which I did, as you can see in the video currently. I camped in this little spot, wiping those dudes out, and then just, you know, bait and switching the rest of the dudes. There's really not much to talk about. The shop has some interesting stuff, I guess. Like, there's a horse slayer, and I forgot what else was in there. Oh, and there's also a vendor with stat boosters. So aside from that rookie mistake of, you know, having an initial rush and then it just phases out afterward, some of the enemies have crit rates, and given how long and time-consuming this submission is due to the map size and also the fact that it's in FEXP, which is super laggy, sometimes you'll just get hit by a random crit from an enemy, and all your progress just went down the fucking toilet. There's no save state feature in this submission, so every mistake you make is just like, you can't undo it unless you do a backup suspend. Near the end of the first chapter, the boss has a crit rate against all my units, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no counterplay to this. None of your units have enough luck. I don't think you get an iron rune anywhere, so you're pretty much at the mercy of the RNG against this motherfucker. After he crit me, I reloaded my save, and then I killed him after some RNG rigging. Then comes the next chapter. So, here's something that's really unfortunate. When I started this chapter, the game just straight up crashed. Like, it's soft locked. I found out that, like, by beating the first chapter, like, apparently the second chapter wasn't play tested properly to function after you've beaten the first chapter. I think it might be because one of my units died or whatever, and that causes chapter 2 to fuck up because it expects all units to be alive. But yeah, it just crashes and there's no way to get around it. You can't complete the submission, or at least I couldn't. So what I had to do is, luckily, Maruhai included this feature where you could just play chapter 2 like from a new game. Unfortunately, this resets all of the stats of your characters, so there's not much you can really do. Like, you're gonna be stuck with shitty ass stats and whatnot. You can't, and since, you know, the first chapter you gain so many stats because everybody's growth rates are so huge, you basically lose the ability to snowball. I guess that's actually a positive when you think about it, because now I don't have to trivialize this chapter. But here's the thing. This chapter, there's reinforcements that show up, and they're supposed to, they basically serve as a time limit. You need to rush, but unfortunately, for some reason, they just stood in place. Like, some of them rushed me, but others stood in place, and so there wasn't really much tension or incentive to move forward after a while, because I was able to just kill them all, and then I was just able to take my time. So after that, the rest of the chapter's pretty much in the bag. You just bait and switch the enemies out, and then you tediously take down the boss, and that's just about it. That's all she wrote. So I think the flaws of the submission are pretty apparent. I wish I could find something positive to say about it, but, I mean, Maruhai made it in 3 days. Like, you know, for a submission that was made in 3 days, I will say that it's actually pretty good quality for something that was made in such a short amount of time. I mean, the maps look nice. Unfortunately, I think that's all I can really say about it. I mean, there's some silly jokes here and there, but that's about it. It's kind of tragic, but, I mean, this could be the last Ragefest. No, it is going to be the last Ragefest. I'm not doing Ragefest anymore, sorry, everybody. So, you know, at least you got to have a submission in Ragefest. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Oh yeah, one last thing. Just for fun, I decided to interview Maruhai. You can see the full interview in the comments. There's actually some interesting bits in there, such as when I asked Maruhai what he would have done differently if he had more time to work on his submission. You also learn a little bit about me and my time in the Super Mario World hacking community. Later!